We have to stay woke. Like everybody needs to be woke. And you can talk about if you're the wokest or woker, but just stay more woke than less woke. Yeah. We have to stay woke.
And relatedly, is the United States willing to make a specific allocation for Ukrainian refugees? And for President Duda, I wanted to know if you think, and if you asked the United States to specifically accept more refugees.
Okay. A friend in need is a friend indeed.
Okay, I can first. Okay, so this time. Szanowna pani redaktor.
Madam, the situation is very...
Hello, welcome to the debut of our channel. I am TC.
I'm Ray.
And we're a couple who live in Chicago. And as you can see from the name, just to get by, just to get by, just to get by, just to get by. Shy. That's exactly how our journey has and continues to be as we find ways to navigate through the many struggles of living in Chicago.
Struggles.
I was born and raised in Chicago.
I was born elsewhere, but raised in Chicago.
And we're now raising a family in Chicago as well. And so we're starting this channel. We just want to, hope that you like, share, and subscribe and check us out. We're going to be covering topics, various topics. So nothing is off limits. So we hope that you enjoy it. So that's who they want us to vote for.
They want us to vote for that.
What you just heard is what they want us to vote for. I mean, there's plenty more videos out there, but
so many.
I wanted to show these two. How quick we forget. Was it just maybe a couple of months ago before Biden stepped down?
Yes.
Everybody was talking about, where is Kamala?
Yeah.
Why she's always laughing? Everything's funny. So are we serious? Now? She's the front runner for the Democrats?
My question is, did you vote for her?
I don't. Democracy? Did you say democracy?
It is democracy.
They said they want to save
democracy by supplanting somebody. Did you vote for her?
Like,
did any of you want her to win presidency? Did you vote for her? Would she get like 1-2%?
I mean,
she didn't even win her own district in California.
I mean, it's crazy to even think that you are running on you fighting for democracy when you didn't even practice democracy with choosing Kamala.
Nope. Skipped right on by that part.
So I mean, the gig is up. The game is over. And as Cat Williams said, I don't even want to play no more. Do you want to play this game?
No,
I really don't want to play this game.
It's almost unplayable.
I mean, you should see all of these goofies at the DNC just lapdogging it.
They just love it.
Just loving this whole process, loving this woman. It's like ridiculous.
A dance.
I mean, and the police presence. I mean, yeah, Chicago got it locked down.
Chicago is
nobody's getting near the United Center.
There's more cops than protesters.
I mean, wow. But let's focus on that for a minute. Let's talk about who is here. I saw a couple of groups. Yes. We got the Abandon Harris and Free Palestine.
Oh, I heard that.
You got the U.S. Palestinian Network or Community Network.
Oh,
you got the Coalition for Justice in Palestine.
Oh, wow.
You got the Chicago Alliance Against Racism and Political Oppression.
I like that one.
You even got the Legalization for All Network, and that's regarding immigration. Immigration reform. Of course, you got the abortion advocates. You got the Asian and the Korean American community-based organizations. You got the National Korean Service and Education groups. Of course, you got the LGBTQ.
They're protesting? Korean groups?
Everybody is here
But the Korean groups are protesting?
making a bid. Then you also, I saw this one guy who had a flag, and he said he was here because he is proud to be an American.
He's proud to be an
He's
American.
proud to be an American. So what he said was, out of all these groups that's here, he wants to make his presence felt that he is a patriot and he's proud to be an American.
So he was just protesting to be proud to
Yes,
be American?
it was just this one guy. I'm sure he's got a.
Did he have a flag on him or anything?
Yes, he had the
Did he
flag.
have a bunch of pins, or was he dressed like a military guy or something?
I mean, there is just so many groups of people here. So, as I'm saying that, we have
An echo.
our own fight. Yes, and if you hear that echo, that is my daughter. So, she's welcome. So you look around Chicago, and so like I said, they got all these groups here. Everybody's putting their bid in. Kamala, you gotta, ceasefire, and all the groups, want something. But whenever we say we want reparations,
Be one.
we want a anti-hate, anti-crime bill.
Yes. They just keep forgetting about that.
I mean,
We've been asking
two
for
things. We only asked those two. I mean, there's plenty more things, but we really need to really think about that. Whenever we say reparations, something that is old.
Oh,
This is a debt that is old.
debt.
It is due. And I don't understand why when we say that.
don't you
there's
want to get
always
paid
a
for your
problem.
work?
I mean, really.
A lot of people have worked and are not getting paid.
So I'm just like, I don't want to play. I don't want to play this game.
No, it's
And a
not
lot of
for
us, Black Americans, are sick and tired of this. I'm sick of the, what is it? What's the main thing that they always call us? They call us, what is it? Urban
urban or
disadvantaged, inner cities.
Well, disadvantages, especially, yes.
Yeah, minority.
Minority. But minority
Yeah.
encompasses a great deal of a lot of different types of ethnicities.
Yeah.
Minority does.
Yeah.
We're trying to establish the fact that we don't seem to have something for the people who most desperately need the assistance.
Yeah. Yeah.
How's that? How come that hasn't happened?
Hey, your guess is as good as mine. I've been waiting for forever. I mean, and all of these terms are just tag designations that they, purposefully use so they can at least, they can either eliminate helping us or give us the bare minimum.
Right, because
That's what we see.
It feels like an erasure almost. Like
Yeah. I mean, and did you hear? They said they're sending 25,000 more migrants to Chicago.
whoa, by bus or by plane, or because it seems to be by bus and by plane.
I mean, is this like the upside down show?
How does
I mean, I don't get it.
how does a
I mean,
person who just comes to this country get into this country, first of all, travel to a city that's like deep inside that country,
Mhm.
and then is offered all sorts of assistance over the people who are already living in the street? They cleared out all the tent cities that were around the area, put huge fences up. Someone said they burned people out.
Yeah.
Burn
There
the
were some
homeless
encampments that were
out.
there for like years and years. And somehow, some way, it just happened to burn. It burned down. So I forgot to tell you where we live too. It's not just Chicago, it's Crook County. We want to make sure you understand that. So I mean, I don't know, how much more do they think we can take? I mean, you got this explosion of migrants that they dropped off in our communities, the communities that have been starved of
By
resources, and they're making all of these accommodations without batting an eye. I mean, it's a direct slap in our face. And on top of that, what else they doing? They're giving them food, housing, cars,
mopeds. Don't
I see
forget the
mopeds.
mopeds.
Motorcycles, mopeds, debit cards with thousands and thousands of dollars on them a month.
What did they say about that? 10 grand? 10, 20 grand?
I mean,
I've seen so many new temporary plates out in these streets.
I mean, dude, are they? You got to be out your mind to think that we should be cool with that.
We're all good. We'll just let people just walk all over us.
I mean,
it continues to happen. That's a constant.
Oh, and after all of this, meanwhile, you studying reparations. You're studying reparations.
There's been so many studies on reparations. We could wipe everybody in this country's butt with it.
Studying reparations. And on top of that, we supposed to vote for Kamala?
Man, she said something.
For Kamala? Oh, you say she said something? Okay. Okay, give me a minute. Let's share the screen. Let's see what she said.
Something.
Remember that? Okay, let's see.
Do you support reparations for Black people? Black people.
Well, listen, again, we had over 200 years of slavery. We had Jim Crow for almost a century. We had legalized discrimination and segregation, and now we have segregation and discrimination that is not legal but still exists and is a barrier to progress. We have disparities around housing. We have disparities around education. We have disparities around income. And we have to recognize that everybody did not start out on an equal footing in this country. And in particular, Black people have not. And so we have got to recognize that and do something about that and give folks a lift up. That's why, for example, I'm proposing the LIFT Act. Give people who are making $100,000 or less as a family a tax credit, which will benefit and uplift 60% of Black families who are in poverty.
So by default, it affects Black families, but there's not a particular policy for African Americans that you would explore.
But no, if you look at the reality of who will benefit from certain policies, when you take into account that they're not starting at the same place and they're not starting on equal footing, it will directly benefit Black children, Black families, Black homeowners, because the disparities are so significant. So if we focus on the specific issues that have resulted in the greatest disparities, and we understand that that's part of why we're doing it. Listen, the reality also is this: any policy that will benefit Black people will benefit all of society. Let's be clear about that. Let's really be clear about that. So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit Black people. No, because whatever benefits that Black family will benefit that community and society as a whole and the country. Right?
She said, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's going to only benefit Black people. No.
Yeah.
That's what she said.
That's what she told us. She's not going to do that.
So she said she's not going to do something.
She's not going to do anything
benefit Black
that's going to help Black people.
Well, let's take a look at
She
this.
said she's not going to do stuff to help benefit
Black people.
Only Black
okay.
people.
Now here we are.
To benefit all society.
Here we are. Let's take a look at this.
Yes. What do we look at?
We're going to see that she's not doing something that's specific to.
No.
So let's go here. Let's share this. Okay, what does that say?
That says, fact sheet, the Biden-Harris administration advances
equity and opportunity.
For who? For Asian Americans, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander communities across the country.
Do you see Black in there?
I don't see a Black other than the B in Biden.
that's interesting. That's specific to
Wow,
these.
it celebrates the diversity of
community.
cultures. Huh.
Okay, you think that was something?
AANHPI. Wow, that's specifically for a
Okay,
specific group.
you
I think.
that was something. Okay.
I do think that was
Let's
something.
see who else she is doing something specific for. Let's see, where is this one?
It's a specificity.
Isn't this something? Okay, let's share this one. Okay, what's that say?
That says fact sheet. The Biden-Harris administration advances equity and opportunity for Latino communities across the country.
Can you believe
Huh.
that? That's specific to them.
That is a
right?
specific community.
She said that's specific to them.
That's specific. That
So
is
we-
that
so
from the
we-
White House? Are you sure that because they don't just do stuff
Oh, honey,
for
that's
specific communities, right? That's
right.
what
That's
we
what,
were
that's,
just.
that's
I
what
just
we were
heard.
told.
I just heard that.
So let's go and see. Because I'm like, now they're not gonna be that bold and not say something
They got to say
about
something.
black people,
I mean,
right?
how can you not
Say
say something? Well, you just said no.
she just
But you're
said no.
not going to do it for
Mhm.
specific black communities.
So let's see what this says. Okay, let me share this one. There it is.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I'm sorry.
But look,
I'm happy. But look at that. The fact sheet, the Biden-Harris administration advances equity and opportunity for Black Americans.
And did you see the and?
And what do you mean? There's and communities across the country. By what communities does that mean? Everyone?
Yes, everybody.
Oh, that's the society as a whole. That's all communities.
Yeah.
That's-
So
wow.
they get something specific for them.
Yeah, like
in the Latino
Latinos
community. Okay, and then you have the
Asian. And Asian Americans is a wide range of communities within that spectrum. There's all.
I guess.
Yeah, and then what it was, Native Hawaiians, right, and then did I see
You saw
specific Islanders? Specific Islanders? No, Pacific
Island.
Islanders.
So-
Okay,
So
That-
so for us, we have to get an and.
we got an and in ours. Did you see and in the other ones?
I didn't
You
see and.
I just
didn't
saw
see
communities.
and in those.
I didn't
just-
see an and. I just saw
I did
communities.
not
at that.
see
That's
and.
interesting.
So, it's crazy. I mean, what do they think is going to happen if they just say black people?
I think the sky will fall if they
You
say
think so?
black too many times. I know when I watch television, they don't even have more than they don't have too many black people on the screen at the same time, or else it just shuts down. It looks like it has to be a specific Pacific
Pacific.
program or something to have more than that.
It's crazy to me that we keep having the same conversation about us having to be included.
Inclusion is good. And I find it interesting you mentioned Asian Americans.
Mhm.
Because,
There's a whole lot of them, right?
there's a different. There's Asian Americans is from Chinese to Indian to Pakistan, almost Arabian. I wonder why she doesn't have so much connection to doing something for the black community, but she does stuff for the other communities. I wonder why that is. Did you know she was born in Oakland?
I heard.
I heard in Oakland, California. I heard that she was born in Oakland.
there.
Did you know she was not raised in Oakland? She was raised in Montreal. She went from elementary to high school in Montreal, which I believe is another country across a specific border, a Pacific border. I think that's what it is, a specific border between the United States and Canada.
Yeah.
Wow.
So when I think about that, and I say, wow, she says she's not going to do anything specific to black people.
For black people. No.
And said it with her whole chest.
Her whole chest. She put some back in it as well.
But you know what really got me is that
Okay.
she really, when I listened to that, I said, you know what, she really, really meant that. You
She
got to
did.
listen to her words. She said she's not going to do something specific to black people.
For black
I
people.
mean, that means that
Two, yes.
She, let me just tell you.
Two, yes. From her record as a prosecutor, two black people, yes. 4, not so much.
So I got another one. So I'm not gonna vote for somebody who intentionally tarnishes the legacy of black people. No.
How
You
do
know
mean
why I say
tarnishes?
that?
Yeah, why?
You know why
How
I
do you
say
say
that? First,
tarnish?
let's take a look back and see what the Freedmen's Bank
Tarnish the
was.
legacy.
Okay, let's talk about the history of the Freedmen's Bank. Okay,
Are
so
you sharing right now?
So let me share my screen so I can show you
Yes, I
what the
want to see.
Freedmen's Bank and Trust. Let's see. Okay, let's take a look at this.
Yes.
Okay, so among the most underused bodies. Okay, first let's say this is the Freedman Savings and Trust Company.
And an African American genealogical research.
Okay, so let's get a background. Let's go
Yes,
here.
we must.
In a meeting in New York on January 27th, 1865, John W. Albert, a congressional minister and
Of abolitionists.
abolitionist,
I wonder what they were doing. What was an
met with
abolitionist?
more than 20 philanthropists
Philanthropists.
and leading members of the business community to explore the idea of establishing a savings bank for the benefit of African American soldiers.
Oh, there were African American
So-
soldiers back then. Wow.
Said Alfred, who had worked with these soldiers in a variety of humanitarian ventures, informed the group that many black soldiers who were receiving back pay and bounty payments for enlisting in the service and had no safe place to deposit their money.
Wow, no safe place to put their own money. Huh.
So
wonder why
others
that
who
was.
lacked experience in the business and managing their own affairs, were either squandering their pay or being victimized by swindlers.
Swindlers, scams. That still happens today.
Okay, so I want to read all of that, but let's take a look and see when.
That was for a specific group.
It was.
That bank, if originally
On
for
February
black
13th,
soldiers.
1865, with the assistance of Senator Charles Sumner of Massachusetts, a bill to incorporate the Freedman Saving and Trust
Company
was brought before Congress. As a brief discussion and some confusion about where the bank will be located, an act to incorporate the Freedmen's Savings and Trust Company was signed into law, by President Abraham Lincoln on March 3rd, 1865.
Quite some time ago.
So what was this bank created for? Okay, so here it was created
Primarily for former slaves and their
their
descendants. Well, that's a great thing, the Freedmen's Bank. I haven't seen any branches open in my lifetime, but I do know that's very good to help these former slaves. And I guess you can consider the black soldiers as well, because they were also formerly enslaved in this country.
Yeah.
Wow, that's very interesting.
So you think of the history. There's another sheet that apparently went away and disappeared, but let me stop sharing.
Huh.
That was given the history and what happened to the Freedmen's Bank.
Yeah, what happened? What how come that we don't see plenty of branches now? You would think there would be a lot of contributions to that bank and organization.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if it had anything to do with how Reconstruction after the Emancipation
Mm-hmm.
had something to do with it. I wonder.
It's interesting that we know now that everybody well, I won't say everybody, but the people who should know the history of the Freedmen's Bank.
Who should know?
And know
Google's your
who
friend.
it was created for.
It would seem like that was for a specific group. That's what I'm taking. That's how I receive how it was formed. It was founded and created for a specific group of people.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. Hey, did you know when Harris was in Montreal, she often, like any black woman, she often took trips to India to visit her family, like any other black woman, and she also took trips with her father to Jamaica, like any black woman and black father would take their children to see the rest of their family in India and Jamaica. I didn't know that. I didn't know that was so common in the Black household. I just wanted to mention that. I found that interesting.
Okay, let me share this. Let me share this screen right here. Let me go back because I want to make sure I give you a lot of the history
I like documentation.
of what we're talking about. Okay, so the end of slavery and the birth of the Freedmen's Bank.
Where
Okay,
are
this
we?
would put it clearly what was happening with
Yes.
why this was created. Okay, with the passage of the 13th Amendment and the end of the Civil War in 1865,
Wow, a lot of stuff happened.
slavery was finally abolished in the United States.
Oh,
The practice had existed in
not
the American
completely.
continent for more than 200 years.
200
Almost
years of slavery.
overnight, nearly 4 million African American men, women, and children were free.
4 million.
With the South in ruins, they faced disorder and danger. Most had no home, no money, and no work.
No money.
Their relatives
Worked
were
for 200
scattered
years.
all around or all over the country and nearly impossible to find.
They knew they had family members.
To address, what does it say?
To address
the needs of the newly
freed slaves.
newly freed slaves. This
Newly
was
freed.
to address the needs of the newly freed
Newly
slaves.
freed.
The U.S. government
Recently emancipated.
created the Bureau of
Refugees,
Freedmen,
and
Abandoned
abandoned lands.
Now,
Huh.
this is commonly known as the Freedmen's Bureau. It provided food, housing, and medical aid to tens of thousands of freed slaves. It located relatives and reunited families and helped to establish schools all across the South for African Americans.
Established schools for African Americans. That's a good thing. I wonder why they had to just get schools for specifically African Americans.
Now listen to this. Meanwhile, a group of missionaries, abolitionists, and businessmen saw that African Americans would need support and education to become financially secure. The group worked to create a savings bank for former slaves, African American veterans, and their families. In 1865, they succeeded. The Freedmen's Savings and Trust Company, often called the Freedmen's Bank, opened for business.
Wow.
Okay. So it opened for business.
Very interesting.
Now, let's see what happened with the Freedmen's Bank.
Demise.
So let me stop sharing and I'll go back in. Let's show this one. I'm going to show this one.
The
Okay,
demise.
so this is where we originally started off, but we want to go back and kind of give
Yes.
a little bit of history.
Married to
Okay.
a corpse. The bank's demise.
And what did you say? Now what happened with this?
In
Okay,
18
so in 1867,
67. I'm
the
sorry.
Freedmen's Bank moved its headquarters from New York City to Washington, D.C. Soon after, a group of local bankers, politicians, and businessmen began to take control.
Mhm,
At the urging of the new trustees, Congress amended the bank's charter.
mhm.
The trustees now began to invest in real estate projects and railroads, and they made risky loans to friends. That sounds
Some with
familiar.
no collateral. Don't
No
that sound
collateral?
familiar?
That sounds
Uh-huh.
familiar. That sounds like today. Some of the trustees were in charge of other banks as well. That
And-
means they have what do you call that? A conflict of interest working with another bank as well. And when they made bad loans at those banks, their own banks, I see,
Mhm.
they transferred the bad loans to the Freedman Bank.
Ain't that about a
Huh,
I
that
wanna
sounds
get the
like a
cursing.
recipe for collapse. As Frederick Douglass, a famous writer and speaker, widely respected in the African American community, would later describe it. The bank had become the black man's cow, but the white man's milk. Ooh,
Ain't that deep?
very interesting. I wonder how many trustees were of the Caucasian persuasion, if at all.
Come on now. When a financial panic hit the country in 1873, most of the Freedmen's Bank's investments lost value or became worthless. The bank was doomed. Several branches were hit by bank runs, during which crowds of depositors demanded their money.
Yes,
The
right.
branches met the demands, but the cash reserves of the Freedmen's Bank were drained. A number of trustees resigned.
Of course.
In the meantime, no one had been watching what the trustees were doing. The U.S. Congress was supposed to supervise the Freedmen's Bank, but paid little attention.
Of course.
When Congress finally sent the comptroller of the currency to look carefully at the bank's books, it was too late.
Wow.
In an attempt to save the bank, the trustees asked Frederick Douglass to replace Bank President John Alford. He accepted the position, not knowing how bad the situation was. He soon realized he was married to a corpse.
6 weeks after taking the job, he told Congress to shut the bank down. The trustees fought the closing at first, but they soon realized that the bank could not be saved. In June 1874, the Freedmen's Bank was closed.
Yep, so they
What was
closed
that,
it.
little like 10, 12 years?
So they closed this bank. Now we know the history. We know that the Freedmen's Bank is
Not
lineage based.
Not even 10 years.
This,
Yeah, they
this is
closed it.
us. We are the Freedmen. Okay. So let me stop sharing that.
Wow.
Let me go back and I want to share this. So let me show you how diabolical and disgraceful this woman
That's
is.
an outrageous word,
And
diabolical.
how she tarnished the legacy, the history of
That's what
slavery,
you said.
and why the Freedmen's Bank was created in the first place. You just heard. Why was Freedman Bank created?
It was created for
Newly
newly freed slaves, their families, children, Black veterans, anybody who just got out, who was recently emancipated, is what I remember. Recently emancipated at the time in 1865. It closed in 74. That's like not even 10 years.
So let's look at this. This is another
Fact sheet. Biden-Harris administration highlights success in expanding access to capital and private contracting opportunities for underserved communities following Vice President's 2023 call to action.
Now, mind you, this is Vice President's. You
Yes,
see
she's
this,
doing
this is her
something.
call to action.
Yes.
So let's see what call to action
Yes, last
she's
year.
got. This is what really got me so heated. Following Vice President Kamala Harris' call to action in 2023, the Biden-Harris administration announced progress on expanding access to capital to underserved communities during the 2024 Freedmen's Bank Summer Symposium. Okay, let's look at this. These accomplishments include the commitment by private companies and philanthropy to make $3 billion in deposits with community development financial institutions, minority depository institutions, and by 2025, through the Economic Opportunity Coalition, up from the $1 billion committed to 2023.
Wow.
Today's announcement is another sign that the Biden-Harris administration is driving a great American comeback in communities. So remember, Freedmen's Bank is for Freedmen, the lineage, okay?
Or the Negro.
Under the Biden-Harris administration, the U.S. Small Business Administration has backed
SBA.
$35 billion in loans, over 68,000 who?
Minority-owned small business. Minority encompasses
Minority,
almost everybody.
minority. You mean to tell me
Even-
that you found a way to incorporate other groups into the Freedmen's Bank? Are you freaking kidding me?
Wow.
You talking about?
That's everybody.
That is
Doesn't that
so
include
disrespectful.
Caucasian
If it was
women?
one thing that you don't touch, and that's the Freedmen's Bank, that's our lineage. You
They brought it
can't
back
be
just to
us.
piss on
There's
it.
no way that this woman could say that she didn't do this intentionally because she know the history of the Freedmen's
Yeah.
Bank. So for you to even incorporate another group into the Freedmen's Bank,
Minorities.
this
Minority-owned business.
it
This-
says minority.
This is the Freedmen's Bank. Is
Listen,
not the
look
Freedmen's
at this.
Bank.
Listen, minority-owned businesses, an increase of more than 13% compared to the entirety of the prior administration. Okay, the Treasury Department. Let's see. This year's symposium took place at Shaw University, the oldest historically, and you're gonna
HBCU.
do it on the black college.
Do you know
This
all
is what
races
drives
are
me
welcome
crazy.
at HBCUs?
Oh yeah, I mean that which is crazy.
They
but-
only had to form these colleges because they weren't admitted into the other colleges.
Yeah, exactly. So let's go here. The impact of the Biden administration investments in the round rally. I'm sorry, you guys. I sometimes scroll with the mouse as I'm reading, so I'll try not to. The city is the historical home to the branch of the original Freedmen's Bank, a Reconstruction era savings and trust company whose charter was signed in 1865
By Lincoln.
by President Lincoln to
Everybody
support
loves
the
Lincoln.
financial independence of the nation's over 4 million newly emancipated African Americans.
That's what I said.
Today's event modeled after the vice president, so you can't say that she didn't do this. She did this on purpose.
She did something.
Nationwide Economic Opportunity Tour highlighted the significant progress made to support underserved businesses and aspiring
Underserved.
entrepreneurs.
That sounds like a lot of people.
Look
a
at
lot of
this
different
from
people.
Vice President. Don't say she didn't say it.
She-
It's here. It's
she
on the
did say
White
it.
House.
I'm still in shaking because I'm scared to be on the White House
Listen,
lawns.
look at this. Following efforts by the Biden-Harris administration, Black business ownership and who
Latino business ownership.
are growing at their fastest pace in
Latino?
30 years.
Latino.
In addition, median net worth is up 60% for Black families and 40%. Why are we even talking about Black and Latinos?
Right.
What was the Freedman Bank created for?
Newly
newly-
in the paragraph above.
So this is what I'm talking about. I mean,
It's,
when we look at this, let me stop
it's
sharing.
like a disrespect.
Let me stop
Right.
sharing. I just got it. I got it. You know, Black Americans who are the descendants of freedmen have been the most disrespected, marginalized, disregarded, exploited, and the
Yes.
most manipulated of all these other communities.
Wait, there's so
That's
many
hands
scammers.
down. No question about it.
So many sellouts.
And the current state of where we at now
Backstabbers.
as freedmen, we're the product of the residues of slavery. And you say how? By what she just did. That's one instance. The economic injustices, racial violence. She knows about this.
She
Prison
does.
industrial
She keeps telling
complex,
us about it, but does nothing about it.
redlining, discriminatory policies, systematic institutional racism.
Yeah, it's all true.
So when you see this woman who's saying she's us and she is running as the first Black what?
Black woman, she said.
No Black woman would do something. No Black person would do this if they really was from
Would take
this
a
lineage.
dump off our
If they were
bank.
from our lineage, if they were freedmen, they wouldn't do this. This is a disrespect to the ancestors.
Yes, it is.
How dare you? And when we talk about our ancestors, let's talk about the corporations and insurance, cotton, tobacco, mining, railroads, banking.
Sugar.
I can go on. Sugar. They accumulated the majority of their wealth from our ancestors' suffering, the brutality, the fear, the panic, the exploitation, and the agony. Their blood, their sweat, and their tears is what built the foundation of America. So when
Nothing
you hear
else.
people say, what's a foundational Black American? That's what it is. On this soil, there's no other group that compares to that. And I
Right.
said what I said.
That's right.
And this will always be, no matter how much you don't want to talk about it, how much you're uncomfortable about this conversation. This is not this, and it will always be America's original sin.
It is.
So the debt is due. How much longer? How much more can we take? We are sitting here in these cities. We're in Chicago. Like I said, and I didn't want to go here, but when I saw that she tapped into that Freedman's Bank, that had me livid.
That's like
I
the
was like,
last
that is
nerve.
so on purpose. When you said that you weren't gonna do nothing else specific for Black people, you must have stood on that 10 toes down.
Yes, you did.
Because I see this is how disrespectful you are, and you think that I'm supposed to vote for you.
Right,
And let me tell
not.
you something. By the way, yes, I graduated from grammar school. I graduated from high school. I have a college degree, and
We
I
all have
also
our schooling.
pledged Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Am
On the
I voting
streets.
for her as a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated? No,
No.
I sure am not. How dare you? There's no way I could sleep at night thinking that I'm gonna vote for somebody who would be this despicable. And I said it. That's despicable for you to even
Backstabbing.
think that you could touch the Freedmen's Bank and incorporate other groups
All
into
other
something that
groups.
was initially and was created
It was the
for
Freedman's
the
Bank.
Freedmen. How dare you?
It's disgusting. It's a
How
black
dare
stabbing.
you?
It's a black stabbing.
It is a black stabber. How dare you?
Man, all I know is I don't see any characteristics of a woman who says that she's Black talking about washing greens in a tub.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
we don't take food
And
to
for
the
Christmas.
bathroom,
For
honey.
Christmas,
That's not
nobody's.
us.
That's disgusting. Oh, but what I've been trying to find out what I've been really want to know is everybody's pumping up her record and what she's done. I guess for society as a whole, and I've come off across a bunch of question marks, considerable question marks during her reign in California when she was ruling as a DA and then a senator.
I like your word, rule.
Yeah, rule and reign. I heard she wouldn't let people out of the jail when they said it was too much and it was overcrowded because she needed prisoners to do work.
Yeah, but let DL, let Steve.
I'm not even
Ricky
getting the specifics.
I'm just saying, let them tell it.
Yeah.
And whoever else,
She
they'll
did.
tell you that that's a lie.
She
Come on.
laughed about smoking weed herself when she put people in jail for doing the same. I'm not saying how many. I don't know how many got convicted. I know too many is it
It's enough.
when you have it legalized. How you put them in jail when it's legal? It was legal then.
Unbelievable.
Put people in jail for it. She defended prosecutorial misconduct. She fought exonerations. She opposed civil asset forfeiture reforms. Under her, 2 deputies in trouble unlawfully withheld material evidence under her watch and left to go to the Senate while the investigation was going on. In 2010, a lab tech was caught using evidence that was the drugs,
Wow.
and found out, and everyone found out later and still tried to cover it up when all the cases they had to throw out like 1,000 cases. She also knew this man was innocent. Jamal knew he was innocent and still threw him in jail for murder. Knew he was innocent. Laughed at the hearing. The dude finally got out. I just don't know if you want somebody who says they're in law enforcement but not going through the proper procedure and following the evidence. That's what you thought they do. This is not evidence. This is for record. And this is where I'm going. I did a lot of research. I did a whole lot of checking. She says is she a lawyer or a cop? Because I don't know if she's ever had any courtroom time. Has she ever been in court to argue any position as a prosecutor or a defense attorney? I don't know. I know she was an intern there, and I also know she has a lot of not nice bedroom rumors about her stay over there. I know she graduated high school in '81, just as some other person was separating for their significant other in '82, and somehow 9 years later she became a DA. I don't know. We can put that in the bag and mix it. Now, did you vote for her? Did you vote for her already?
Remember, we talked about they fighting for democracy, but they not practicing what they preach.
Yeah. So did you
real
vote for her?
Look, we did this already with Obama. I mean, hey,
he faked me out.
I got faked out. It was so this. Or we just talk about Chicago. This city was lit for Obama.
Yeah, it was.
You said
felt the magic.
You said that you even rented him and Michelle.
I met them.
So
yeah,
this was kind of like
this was our
hometown dude. Even though we didn't know that he
was going to go to this extent to be this big, but he's very charming and is a master of words.
So we did this already. The next time,
and he's Kenyan American.
I said, you know what? We're not doing this. We're not doing this again. After what he did nothing. You can say what you want to say. Well, real people feel what you do for them, and we're real people. We're not the people who are superstars. We're not celebrities,
Yeah.
And by the way, we listen to Jesse. I'm not gonna talk about is he in a wheelchair right now, but we ain't listening to him. We ain't heard
none of these celebrities who getting paid to say something.
That we do not. So y'all keep sending who you want to send. We're not listening to them. We know that they get paid to come back and tell us to vote for people who not going to do something for us. That makes no sense. That's not even, you talk about civic engagement. You're supposed to ask for something for your vote.
That's how you get stuff accomplished.
What you call This is what the
That's
political
what the system.
process is.
That's what it was. That's what people
Everybody
do.
else do it. Why can't black people do it?
Every
Why
time we
is it
do.
always a problem when we ask for reparations? We're asking for a debt that is due.
It's
Our
owed.
ancestors earned that, and we should be. I mean, this shouldn't even be a discussion. It's
It
not.
shouldn't.
It's not a question to any other community.
Forget your opinion
about
on it.
what you feel.
You
how
gotta get
feel.
paid.
If you really like look at the history of that, you shouldn't even be able to sleep at night thinking that you could stop us from getting the reparations that we deserve. Look at the community we in. Look how we have to deal with
It don't
all
change.
these. We're at the bottom of the bottom of the bottom.
If the machine is when the
I mean,
machine's
how much
working,
more we got? Immigration explosions and
with
explosions,
brand
of
new
immigrants
cars,
and motorcycles.
mopeds.
I mean, really? Are you kidding me? And you talk about you don't have. First, it was they don't have it for reparations. That's what it was. But then when we saw what's happening right now with them, damn that. That's it.
They
Now,
just
you
print money.
got it. You've been had it.
Yeah.
You just don't want to give it to us,
Right.
Which is crazy to me.
It's
that
systematic.
you say yes, it's so systematic. It just makes no sense. Look, the country's not going to be right unless you pay this debt. This debt has been due. It's overdue. Look, I'm just letting you know.
It's owed.
This debt has been owed.
You can't call
makes
it an
no
entitlement when
sense.
it's an invoice that hasn't been paid.
I don't know what you do. I mean, we black people have been your base. We have stood with you since I was 18. My first, I mean, that's all I was told. You know, you vote Democrat, vote Democrat, vote Democrat. I had no problem with that. Not even thinking that you're supposed to get something. It was just something you do. You vote Democrat. But when you start getting a little older, you start thinking like you see all the communities around you. See, we're talking about real people. We're not talking about the people who live in mansions. We're not talking about the people who wine and dine with the elites. We're talking about regular people
Eating
who
them
live
butter
regular
biscuits.
lives, who sit here and pay $400 to $500 for groceries, and you got like one bag. Give me a break. And yes, this is under your watch. This is under your watch. Don't say what you gonna do. You could be doing it right now.
We see it.
This is what's crazy to me. You think that we are so
slow
to believe that you running on something that you could do now. Well, if you're not doing it now, what makes me think that you're gonna do it if you get in?
They're not gonna do it. In whatever this 25,000 is, it's not gonna go to us.
And speaking of that, let me go back to this one. I gotta share.
Why
this.
you do that? I just gotta share
I
something
gotta
real quick.
share this. I know.
I just want to you share.
Let me go to the
This whole thing about the border. We've been to the border. We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
I haven't been to Europe. And I mean, I don't understand the point that you're making.
Why not visit the border? Why not see what Americans are seeing in this crisis?
Well, we are going to the border. We have to deal with what's happening at the border. There's no question about that. That's not a debatable point. But we have to understand that there's a reason people are arriving at our border.
Oh my goodness!
I just want to make a mention of something. Since they've been established, there's been 2,200 super PACs. In that time, over $2 trillion have been raised.
Wow.
$2 trillion. Check this out. Only $725 million has been spent. Let's see this. And now I'm going specific to 2024. You check this out on your own. Google is your friend. MAGA, how much they've gotten, they're telling us 146 million. The American Chemistry Council has given 900 million.
Wow.
To both parties. ACLU has contributed just 145,000. For Republicans in total, this is what they're telling us: 386 million. For Democrats in total, that they're telling us 164 million. Let's take a look at how much AIPAC has given Biden. 4 million altogether. Hillary, 2 million. Mitch McConnell, 1.9. Schumer, 1.7. Ted Cruz, 1.3. Dick Durbin, 1.1 million. Romney, 976,000. They're getting cheaper. Kamala had gotten 244,000. This is what they're telling us.
Right.
Elizabeth Warren got 300,000, and Raphael, our favorite Warnock, got $900,000. That's very interesting. That's very interesting.
Now it's interesting that you say that, because isn't that whoever they give money to, they're expecting something for
They are.
their support. So when it comes to Black people, though, there's a problem with us. I mean, and all we want is what's due.
What's due. And there's so many Black organizations.
Freedmen are due a debt. I don't understand it. Can we get a crime bill that's specific to us?
Let's speak of hate crime. Since you mentioned it, 2017, victims of hate crime who were white were 864. That's pretty bad if you're just white and you get Black people 2,500. Now this is just the FBI. Hey, check this out. 165 Asians. They got a bill.
They sure did. They got one real.
If anything, the white people should.
Oh,
and
you
the
know
Black
why
people
they
should
got
get
one? You know why they got one? Let me tell you why. Because that's who she relates to. That's who your Kamala is. I mean, look at her. Let me share this. Okay, I know this is probably a little long, but I got to show you her aunt. Now, who do you know in your family doesn't know anything about, if you're, of two different parents, doesn't know their
had, and the mother's influence on her life.
Yes.
See, we were not there when her mother was bringing her up. But from what we saw, she was a strict mother. She taught her values.
Yes.
She told her what to do, and she told her to fight for everything. That is the kind of thing.
Oh.
Ma'am, and also now you can see that Kamala Harris has risen to such a high position.
Yes.
Do you see the same streak of rebellion that you saw in her mother in Kamala Harris, and in the way she has actually fought her way to the top?
Yes, definitely. Because Shamla would have been very happy had she been alive. Unfortunately, she died very young. But, she would have been very happy because she brought them up to come up to this level. And I knew Shamla when Kamala was first fighting for the DA post in San Francisco. I was in California at that time. And Kamala was thinking of standing for the DA post. And we were talking about it, and we knew about it. And from that time, I knew that Kamala was, what the general post was there.
She sounds very comfortable.
Because of the COVID.
Let me try about right. I'm sorry, you guys.
And give us,
Let's start
food
right
in
there.
the hand. And she'll say, Kuchiko, Kuchiko. And Kamala, even when she grew up, she'll come to my house and say, Chite, I wanted Kuchiko, Kuchiko. And she will say that,
Kuchiko.
So she had some kind of a
I've heard many Black women
connection
say
with
Kuchiko.
South Indian. She liked a few things in South.
Who are you looking for?
Surely you've seen her videos of making Indian cuisine and Indian food.
Oh.
So what do you think about that?
Good for her. I'm glad about it. But mostly, nowadays her cook is my younger sister from Canada. She goes to
Canada.
Every now and then Kamala and her husband call her, and she goes to visit them. She stays with them for 4 or 5 days and cooks good South Indian food for them for 4 or 5 days and comes back.
Ma'am, looking ahead, Kamala Harris has also said that I'm a Black woman who's got into the vice president post, but I will not be the last. And many are also saying that she will be the future president in 2024. Your take on that, ma'am?
I don't know. I have no comment.
Ma'am, I'd like to ask you about your family.
You heard her. She said
comment.
stop sharing. She said she has no comment. So if your own auntie is, she basically told me that she lying. She ain't Black.
She ain't Black.
I have no comment.
What did she say? She got some goose and she was cooking some juba. I don't know. Hey, everybody, we'd like to thank you for listening.
Yes.
We really enjoyed our time together because me and the Miss love each other. So we thank you for watching. And we want you to check us out again when we have our next episode. We'd like you to donate if you can, if you like to, or subscribe. We are sponsored by some great other channels. Like we're sponsored by you, the watcher. We're also sponsored by Relax with Miss Tish on YouTube. A little bit of rage on YouTube. And if you want to check out some t-shirts and some other types of designs, please check out cafepress.com/LILBITORAGE. That's a little bit of rage. That's me. Thank you for
Thanks
watching.
for watching.